Hey, it's Chris Beyer.
Chris Bowling. What's up, CB?
How are you, sir?
I'm great. Where are you today?
I'm sitting in our Davenport office. How about yourself?
I am at the Lake of the Ozarks. So
Nice,
I had a chance
nice.
to check on things. We haven't been here since Christmas, so make sure my dock still sits where it should sit.
Yeah,
But yes, working from down here. That's why I love the whole
absolutely.
virtual world now. It doesn't matter where you are, you can still work, you can still get stuff done. So no,
No,
this
that's good. So I had a question for you that I know we've started to kind of categorize the questions that we are being asked by our prospective clients. So when we are going through an interview process, a discovery meeting, we're delivering our strategy. A prospective client is asking us questions, and what should an organization ask
ooh,
an advisor if they're looking to hire them? And
that's a good one.
what have you heard? I wanted to focus maybe on two today, but what have you heard that employers have been asking us, and good employers should be asking if they're looking to change advisors?
I think the number one we get asked is, who do you work with today that resembles me?
Yeah,
That's a tough one, right? Because you and I will immediately fire back with you as your industry, as your geographical location,
self-funded, fully insured,
right.
the size. And I think that's an area that, yes, we try not to quickly answer that, because
Right.
that has been drastic. As we've worked with nonprofits and manufacturers and farms and hospitals and service providers and municipalities,
Yeah.
there is some differentiation in industry, but ultimately most every employer that we work with has some commonality.
Right.
It's just, when they ask that question, we really have to dig in and figure out what they mean. But I think it's vital for an employer to ask that prospective advisor, what experience do you have? Because I know there's several advisors out there that maybe haven't worked with an organization of that size, or
Right.
have no idea what it's like to deal with a multi-state employer with different geography. That's a valuable question that an employer can ask in that interview or that evaluation process.
You know, I've probably made the mistake of saying an employer is an employer is an employer.
Yeah.
And that's a mistake, because I'll tell you, some of the municipalities we work with that have unions,
Yeah.
totally different conversations.
Yes, it is.
Totally different mindset of, well, we think we should do this. And if you don't think about what's out there from a union contract,
Yeah.
you can't
It's
do
going to backfire. Right.
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 So
Yeah. We've had some really good success with our municipalities, but we've also had several great ideas that are just dead on arrival because, oh yeah, never mind. That's not in the contract. Oh, that's a really good point.
but yes, I think it's a legitimate and fair question for an employer to ask any advisor.
Yes.
Help me understand. And it's not give me the reference, it's can you relate to our industry? Can you
Yes.
relate to what we go through every day? Like you and I have said, we have a large nonprofit book of business, and
Yes.
we know that they have different struggles. Most of them have multiple locations.
Yes.
Totally different than when you and I are working with a manufacturer that 99.99% of their employees sit in this one address.
Yeah.
Completely different way
Yes.
to educate, to figure out how do we, communicate, their benefit structure, their benefit strategy.
Yeah.
So I think to me, I think that is a fair question. And I also think that an employer has to look past the shiny stuff.
Yeah.
The shiny stuff is great. And I could throw 1,000 things against the wall and hope one of those will stick. And I would challenge any employer to say, hey, this is what we need. Tell me exactly how would that fix my issue or improve our situation. I think that's the second question I would be asking, is once you get past all the shiny stuff,
Yep.
really take the time to think about, A, can I even implement that? B, will my culture of my employees see that of value?
Yes. Yes.
What are your thoughts on that?
No, I think it's how do you relate to organizations like me, and then you may have the same strategy as another organization, but how is it delivered and how is it received? Talking with certain industries, they are very much, we offer benefits, and it's a profit center for the organization. So we need costs to be as low as possible. We want the benefits to be good. But you know what? At the end of the day, our employees don't stay here because of the benefits.
Right.
But we also need help staying compliant. We need help with technology. On the other hand, we've got organizations that if that benefit dollar goes up $1 out of the paycheck, those employees are going to struggle to pay their bills because of the nature of their industry. And so it's got to be, a major conversation of how does that impact the employee? But then also, why do your employees work here? Some of our organizations, they work solely for the benefits, and that is it. And the pay is not, on equal level with other organizations. And strategy can be the same, but it's how we deliver it and how it's interpreted by the employer and the employees themselves.
You've even gone so far to understand how many different generations or different I've lost the word, but
No, I would say that. I mean, multiple generations in the workforce.
Right.
We've got some employers that we've got, Medicare eligible employees still working because they're super talented. They don't want to retire.
Right.
And then you've got that company hiring people right out of high school at the same time. That's a totally different communication strategy for anyone on those ends of the spectrum and between. And yes, we have a lot of really awesome communication ideas, but some of those things aren't going to work across the board because of the population. And, again, those are the types of dialogue we need to have with the organization to figure out what is it that, what do you want to accomplish? And then likewise, that employer should be asking to that advisor, how do you work with organizations like us? And how do you get to know us? So was there another one we were thinking?
There was, and now I'm drawing a blank.
Well, I know one that we've been asked more recently as well is, how are you compensated? And, that's something that, this is now our second year of having to formally disclose our compensation to our clients and those coming into contract with us. It was passed by the CAA in 2021. Hopefully every advisor is disclosing that correctly for their current clients and prospective clients. But, we have multiple ways to be compensated, but often we are compensated by what the insurance carrier is already paying to that broker if we were to move forward. But I think that conversation is something that an employer needs to ask because legally we have to disclose it, but to make sure there's just no conflict of interest. Is there something you're receiving in compensation from the company, from the carrier, other sources that would cause an advisor to recommend something over another? And you and I see that all the time. There are bonus structures put in place. There are all kinds of incentives put in place to sell a certain carrier's product. And we have to be impartial with that. It's nice that those are built in, but we really have to figure out what's good for that employer. And I think that revenue to the agency and compensation model is something that every employer should be asking their current advisor and those that they are, working through, because it comes back to value. If you're paying X number of dollars to that advisor, what are you getting for it? Because that carrier may pay the exact same revenue to the current advisor and then to us, but what are you getting for that dollar? Because there's a lot of money going out the door to pay brokers and to pay advisors. So they've got to deliver something. So
you and I were pretty excited when that law came out, just because, we've got to earn what we get paid. I mean, that's the, and some of that is advice and some of that is earning exactly what we get paid. Is that, how many times are we communicating with our clients? How many times are we, working on, something with their employees or, a technology? And I think the day, I started this industry when you showed up one time per year, and guess what?
Totally different.
You had a spreadsheet.
Yes. I mean, those would be, like I said, those would be two good questions for an employer to ask if they're evaluating an advisor or they're in that selection process. Number one, how do you work with organizations like us? Who else do you work with that's like us, whatever that variation is? And then how are you compensated and what do we get for it? And, that should be a part of the evaluation. We'll have a few more that we'll share, but I know those are two common ones we've been asked recently. So.
I'll think of 3 more as soon as we get off of here.
Oh, I know you will. So, thanks, CB. Good to talk.
We'll see you.